The next day, when the boys came to the ballpark, he watched them as they came from behind the bleachers and around the edge of the field. Johnson's hand was on Norton's shoulder, his head bent toward the younger boy's ear, and on the child's face there was a look of complete confidence, of dawning light. Shepard's grimace hardened. This would be Johnson's way of trying to annoy him, but he would not be annoyed. Norton was not bright enough to be damaged much. He gazed at the child's dull, absorbed little face. Why try to make him superior? Heaven and hell were for the mediocre, and he was that if he was anything. The two boys came into the bleachers and sat down about 10 feet away, facing him, but neither gave him any sign of recognition. He cast a glance behind him where the little leaguers were spread out in the field. Then he started for the bleachers. The hiss of Johnson's voice stopped as he approached. "What have you fellows been doing today?" he asked genially. "He's been telling me," Norton started. Johnson pushed the child in the ribs with his elbow. "We ain't been doing nothing," he said. His face appeared to be covered with a blank gaze, but through it a look of complicity was blazoned forth insolently. Shepard felt his face grow warm, but he said nothing. A child in a Little League uniform followed him and was nudging him in the back of the leg with a bat. He turned and put his arm around the boy's neck and went with him back to the game. That night, when he went to the attic to join the boys at the telescope, he found Norton there alone. He was sitting on the packing box, hunched over, looking intently through the instrument. Johnson was not there. "Where's Rufus?" Shepard asked. "I said, where's Rufus?" he said louder. "Gone somewhere," the child said without turning around. "Gone where?" Shepard asked. "He just said that he was going somewhere. He said he was fed up looking at stars." "I see," Shepard said glumly. He turned and went back down the stairs. He searched the house without finding Johnson. Then he went to the living room and sat down. Yesterday he had been convinced of his success with the boy. Today he faced the possibility that he was failing with him. He had been over-lenient, too concerned to have Johnson like him. He felt a twinge of guilt. What difference did it make if Johnson liked him or not? What was that to him? When the boy came in, they would have a few things understood. "As long as you stay here, there will be no going out at night by yourself, do you understand?" "I don't have to stay here. It ain't nothing to me staying here." Oh my God, he thought. He could not bring it to that. He would have to be firm, but not make an issue of it. He picked up the evening paper. Kindness and patience were always called for, but he had not been firm enough. He sat holding the paper, but not reading it. The boy would not respect him unless he showed firmness. The doorbell rang, and he went to answer it. He opened it and stepped back with a pained, disappointed face. A large, dour policeman stood on the stoop, holding Johnson by the elbow. At the curb a patrol car waited. Johnson looked very white. His jaw was thrust forward as if to keep from trembling. "We brought him here first because he raised such a fit," the policeman said. "But now that you've seen him, we're going to take him to the station and ask him a few questions." "What happened?" Shepard muttered. "A house around the corner from here," the policeman said. "A real smash job. Dishes broken all over the floor, furniture turned upside down." "I didn't have a thing to do with it," Johnson said. "I was walking along minding my own business when this cop came up and grabbed me." Shepard looked at the boy grimly. He made no effort to soften his expression. Johnson flushed. "I was just walking along," he muttered, but with no conviction in his voice. "Come on, bud," the policeman said. "You ain't going to let him take me, are you?" Johnson said. "You believe me, don't you?" There was an appeal in his voice that Shepard had not heard there before. This was crucial. The boy would have to learn that he could not be protected when he was guilty. "You'll have to go with him, Rufus," he said. "You're going to let him take me, and I tell you I ain't done a thing," Johnson said shrilly. Shepard's face became harder as his sense of injury grew. The boy boy had failed him even before he had had a chance to give him the shoe. They were to have got it tomorrow. All his regret turned suddenly on the shoe. His irritation at the sight of Johnson doubled. "You made out like you had all this confidence in me," the boy mumbled. "I did have," Shepard said. His face was wooden. Johnson turned away with the policeman, but before he moved, a gleam of pure hatred flashed toward Shepard from the pits of his eyes. Shepard stood in the door and watched them get into the patrol car and drive away. He summoned his compassion. He would go to the station tomorrow and see what he could do about getting him out of trouble. The night in jail would not hurt him, and the experience would teach him that he could not treat with impunity someone who had shown him nothing but kindness. Then they would go get the shoe, and perhaps after a night in jail, it would mean even more to the